Hello?
Hello, sir. This is your bank calling. We noticed some potential fraudulent activity on your account. I just wanted to verify it with you.
Oh, shoot. What are the charges?
It says here $2,000 worth of dark tan Lego bricks.
Oh. Okay.
$500 of pearl gold Lego parts. $100 of Battle Droid minifigures, and $50 to a place called Lego Lovers Fun Zone.
Man, that's some weird stuff.
That's why we called, to make sure this wasn't you. Have you lost your card recently, or maybe one of your children got a hold of it?
Oh, yeah. I bet that's what happened. My kid loves Legos, and he probably got a bunch online. I'll definitely talk to him, and we'll, get it all worked out and figured out. Who needs that much Lego anyways, you know what I mean?
Okay, well, that sounds good. All right, you have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.
All right, thanks. Well, that wasn't my finest moment. What's up, Lego builders? Welcome back to Coconut Brick Studios, and today I'm going to be doing something a lot of you guys were probably wondering about, thinking about. I know I did get a lot of questions about it. I'm going to be breaking down how much my Lego Star Wars Cato Neimoidia Moc cost. So this is going to be a pretty rough estimate. I had a lot of the parts in already, and in getting Bricklink orders for this Moc, I can't just add up all the Bricklink orders I bought over the past however many months, because I had multiple Moc going on at the same time, and so I was buying parts for each different Moc. So to be able to do that, I'd literally have to go into each order, figure out which parts are going where, add all those up, and honestly, I don't care that much to know. So I decided just to do a rough estimate because I do have a pretty good idea of the different sections, especially the trans clear, because I didn't really have any of that before. So I kept pretty good track, so I could give you guys an accurate estimate. All that being said, I think it'll still be fun to kind of break everything down and show you guys the rough estimate of what it costs. So the way this video is going to work is I'm going to break down the Moc into different sections, break down how much each section costs, and then add everything up together at the end to give you a grand total. If you're excited and want to know how much Cato Neimoidia costs, don't forget to execute order 66 on that like button. And while you're down there, if you haven't already, consider subscribing so you don't miss out on future projects, especially my next Moc. You thought this one was big and expensive, wait till you see what I got coming next. All that being said, I think that's everything I have to tell you guys. Let's see how much money I poured into this Moc. So I'm gonna start with the mountains. These two mountains, or cliff faces, whatever you want to call them, is where most of my pre-existing parts went to. Just because, I'd just barely finished Utapau, I'd done rail off before, so I had tons of dark tan slopes and bricks ready to get started. And so this is one of those areas where it was kind of hard to gauge, how much I spent here. But I estimate, I had about half of each cliff face done before I had to start really buying a lot of parts to continue building them. So I'm guessing I spent probably around $800 to finish each of them. So combined, that's about $1,600. So I'd say probably about $1,600 on the mountains. Now the city. It's a lot smaller, and I had a lot of the base plates and a decent amount of the tiles, but I didn't have any of the pearl gold, and I had to order in a decent amount of dark bluish gray and light bluish gray brick. The pearl gold actually wasn't that expensive, surprisingly enough. I'd say probably about $500 for the city. And then the little cables on each side that connected the Moc, I'd say probably about $100 to build each one of those, so that's $200. So city cables combined, that's another $700. Now we get to the section I call the money pit, because I dumped so much money into building this section. That's the cloud section where all the cloud were. I spent so much money just putting down thousands of studs, because the trans clear round 1x1 studs are kind of expensive and kind of hard to find. The cylinders were a little bit more reasonable and easier to find, which is why I think ultimately I ended up buying more of those. But I was able to keep pretty good track of these. Just every time I got in a big order, I just write how much on a whiteboard I have in my room. I was keeping track of how many I was using too, because I thought that would be kind of a cool number to throw out. It looks like I kind of stopped keeping track around 16,000, which makes sense because I did the math of like a square section of the Moc, just counting up the studs on each base plate, and added it all together, and I think I would have needed about 20,000 studs. But there are those mountain peaks and plateau tops there, which kind of lessened that number. But so I figured that's a pretty accurate estimate of somewhere between 16 to 18,000 trans clear parts used. Now things did get a little bit confusing with the trans clear studs towards the end, just because I kept ordering them in and I was trying to finish the Moc, and I was just kind of frustrated. I wasn't keeping track as well as I would have liked on how many I on how much it was costing, but the final total was over $1,500. I'd say probably between $1,500 and $1,800, which is a lot, but you know, I covered up a large amount of area I had to cover up a pretty large area. And the nice thing is I figured out a way to be able to use a lot of those parts in my next mock project, which will be really nice and help bring down the cost of that one. Now we're going to the vehicles. So part of the way I break this mock down, like I was saying, is like what pieces that I have already in use in previous mocks, and I don't count those towards this next mock. Both gun chips I bought and built for this mock, so I'm going to count those into the cost. They cost me about $180, $170 each, which combined, you know, is about roughly $360. And then you have the 2 vulture droids. One of them cost me about $50, I believe, and the other one I kind of just threw some parts together. I think I maybe ordered in like $10 more worth of parts to finish it, to build it. And so that's $60 there. So you've got $360 for the gun chips and then another $60 for the vulture droid. So that's all of like the heavy hitting things, the more expensive things. Now I'm getting down to the less expensive portions of this mock, and that is the minifigures. I decaled a lot of the minifigures myself, which helped bring down the cost of all of them. I think most of them were decaled, and Beanie Boy Bricks did help with some too, which helped bring down that cost, which I really appreciate, man. Thank you. Delta Squad, Plo Koon, and like, you know, a couple of the other minifigures, a lot of the battle droids I already had. So I'm mostly taking into consideration the Neimoidian Guard / Warriors, the clone troopers, and the clone pilots. All those minifigures added up set me back about $250. Now the last one, and is one I did a really bad job of keeping track of, is the base plates, because you know, you add these base plates up after a while, after you get so many, they start to cost quite a bit. And I can't for the life of me remember how many I had before, how many I had to buy, which is kind of annoying. So I estimated about $50 to $100 just to be safe. So to summarize, go back through all those. Started out with the mountains, about $2,000. City / cables, another $700. Clouds, $1,800. Vehicles, $420. Minifigures, $250. Base plates, roughly about $75, which all added up brings me to a total of $5,245. Sounds like a lot of money. I'm sure some of you guys are sitting there like, what? He spent that much money on Lego? But you have to think, this was over a 9-month period. This was not me, you know, walking to a bank with walking into the Lego store, $5,000 check and be like, give me all the Lego, you know what I mean? This was reasonably purchased over quite a long period of time, and huge thank you and shout out to you guys for the donations, helping with the, you know, helping boost the ad revenue on my videos by watching, liking, subscribing, sharing. So you guys definitely helped offset the cost of this mock more than any other mock I've done. So I really do appreciate that. Huge thank you to you guys, especially the Patreon members as well. And you know, I kind of expected it to be more. I thought I'd be closer to 10,000 just because I felt like I kept buying and buying and buying. But like, all things considered, not too shabby. You know, this $5,000 gets you a really decent sized mock. That being said, I did have a lot of those mountains already, some of the base plates and minifigures. So, you know, my next one is probably going to be more expensive because I won't be using a lot of these parts. All that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I actually enjoyed making this video. It's kind of fun to put everything together and see, you know, how much it all cost. Don't forget to make sure to let me know down below in the comments what you thought of the final price. If you thought it was going to be more, if you thought it was going to be less. I'd love to hear what you think. Thank you guys all so much for watching. I do have one more Cato Neimoidia video planned for, you know, we move on to other things, and that's gonna be 5 things I would change about the mock. So stay tuned for that. I will catch you guys next time, but until then, happy building.